What is up, everybody? You know, I always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. Guys, my friends over at COMPANYCAM, I'm excited to help my friends at COMPANYCAM promote an event they're hosting in May called Blueprint. Blueprint is a one-day event designed to help service professionals and contractors like you draft your plan for growth. The event is not exclusive to COMPANYCAM users, so if you're a contractor or service pro looking to network, level up your leadership, and learn more about the industry, you won't want to miss it. Taking place in Dallas, Denver, and Chicago, each city will hear from keynote speakers Sean Van Dyke, who will talk about how to design your customer experience to automatically create raving fans using simple technologies. You also hear from industry leaders discuss 3 topics that can make or break any business: tech, team, and traction. Don't miss out. Register at companycam.com/blueprint. And remember, if you want to try COMPANYCAM out, if you go to companycam.com/HVAC Uncensored, you get a free 14-day trial. And then if you decide to do it, you get 50% off your first 2 months. Next is my friends over at Bluon. Guys, you heard the podcast the other night, man. Bluon 2.0 is getting ready to drop, which is absolutely going to be amazing. Bluon has the partnership with Sarah. They are offering the full package for HVAC and trade businesses. It's crazy, man. So all the stuff they offer with the tech support and all the stuff that we already know about Bluon, that is absolutely fucking amazing. They're also going to have the stuff built inside of Sarah that is going to be just full 360 support that you're going to be able to offer what you need to better your customer, give them all the solutions. You're going to know if what you need is in stock at the supply house, right at your fingertips, no calling, no waiting. You're going to know exactly inside of Sarah, hey, that blower motor is available, this blower wheel, this capacitor, whatever it is that you need, you're going to know at the touch of a button, hey, this is available, I can do this today, and then you're going to be able to get delivered to you. Guys, Bluon is literally upgrading the HVAC industry. If you do not have the Bluon app downloaded, please do so. Try to use as many of the free features as they possibly can. They gave this away for free for a long time, man, and some people took it for granted, and I feel bad for the people that did not get to use it. But download it, the 2.0. There's going to be a lot of free stuff. Some of the other things are only going to be for Sarah users, all right? Go download the Bluon app, and let's get on with the show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Five, four, three, two, one, go. Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue-collar people talking about blue-collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I'm your host, Gil KV Jr., here on another Wednesday night. I apologize for the little delayed start. Gave a little extra time to our friend from Canada, which, hey, these are working people, man. They're out doing things in the trade, so completely understandable. I just did it a little late, so if some of you didn't see it, that is my bad. Real fast before I start the show, I'm pretty sure he's in here. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Reliable. My buddy Adrian sent me his stickers. I already have one of these on my laptop. Thank you, brother. I will return the favor. And I want to find out where you got these patches because these are fucking amazing. So thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. I got to ship all of my stickers out. I literally got a thing full of envelopes and like a couple thousand stickers over here. I just got to get them out. So that's my bad. But thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Guys, so if you read it, you might know who the guest is tonight. If you're on Instagram, So I'm going to get right to it and let's introduce him. So he's not in our industry. It's not HVAC, it's plumbing. But hey, we always say the trades are a brotherhood, sisterhood. We're all in the trenches together. And I like to hear different stories. All right. This guy is absolutely killing it on Instagram, putting things out there, building a community, out there helping other plumbers do things the right way, promoting plumbing, which I think is absolutely amazing. And I love it. So guys, without further ado, help me welcome Mr. Vader, the plumber. What's up, buddy?
Hey. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Yeah, of course, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time. I guess I didn't for the longest time. Say, God forbid, somebody is not on Instagram and doesn't know who Vader is. Yeah, man, if you wouldn't mind, just letting everybody know a little bit about your background, who you are, and stuff like that if they don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a plumber out of Ontario, Canada. Before I was plumbing, I was an underwater welder for 8 years. I decided to get out of that industry because of living out of a suitcase and traveling all the time, not seeing my family. That's not fun. So once my wife got pregnant with our second child is when I decided to give up diving. When I was a diver, I used to dive in, shit tanks all the time and work in sewer systems. So I thought all my friends had other trades, but no one was a plumber. So I thought plumbing was the best trade to go into. And then once I was in there, I actually fell in love. So I thoroughly enjoy plumbing, and I do a little bit of HVAC. No AC because it's a separate license, but heating, I do gas and furnaces. So a little bit of the industry.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And that's cool hearing your story because so you had nobody in your family that did plumbing, like you just chose it.
No, my dad owned a heavy equipment business. So I was in construction since I was 12 years old. I obviously wasn't on a job site, but in the shop, seeing my dad do stuff, whatnot. Yeah, no one was in plumbing. It was just the trade I decided after diving. Because, diving, I dealt with pipe too. It was kind of a no-brainer to go deal with pipe again.
Do you have your own thing? Do you work for yourself or do you work for somebody else?
Kind of both. I work at a nuclear plant as a plumber there, and then I own my own company that I'm trying to get off the ground more so that I can solely do that and leave the plant.
That's pretty fucking awesome. Nuclear plant.
Yeah.
That's plumbing on a whole different level, You better hope pipe doesn't burst because it's not just, causing some damage.
Yeah, it's not something small.
Yeah.
I kind of have a broad spectrum on the things that I've done in the industry or that I do. I have quite a bit of experience in different things.
That's awesome. It's always good to broaden your horizons and those different kinds of things, man. And that's cool up there. I mean, and one thing, so to work at a nuclear facility, like what all kind of certifications and stuff do you need? Because I know one thing I give to Canada is you guys do your certifications and licensing and stuff like that way better than we do in the States. Because your stuff is right? Like the Red Seal and stuff like that. Like that's the whole, country of Canada, not just different provinces or whatever you guys call it, right?
Yeah, that's right. So you can get your CFQ, which is per province, but mostly that's when you write your ticket, but you can also get a Red Seal, which is all across Canada. That's all you need to work at the nuclear plant. You need security clearance and but you just need your ticket basically.
Yeah. See, yeah. I didn't know until I started doing this podcast, to be honest, that out of, 50 states in the United States, I think there's only 18 of them that actually require licensing to be in HVAC or plumbing or something like that. It's absurd. It's crazy. My state is one of them. I hold a master's license in the state of Maryland. Yeah, I think Canada's definitely got it way, way better as far as how they do that. I know you say you do some heating. Like, you guys can't have 80% devices anymore, can you? Doesn't it all have to be 90% high efficiency?
Yeah, to install it has to be high efficiency, and actually some of the provinces are going even further as no petroleum products. So even installing a new gas furnace, you won't be allowed to do it soon enough.
Yeah, they're talking about that here. I guess it's a wave of the future. You're gonna have to do it, so we'll see. They're talking about heat pumps, all these incentives with all the SEER 2 stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys don't have the SEER 2 stuff up there. That's just a states thing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I thought it was. We used to do the SEER, the Seasonal Energy Efficiency Rating. It was just SEER. January 1st, they changed it to SEER 2 because they put in some blower test. They really thought of a cool name, SEER 2.
Yeah.
But all it did was just throw a monkey wrench into a bunch of other bullshit. But I've always said that I love what we do, but I think the United States is like so far behind some other countries as far as how we, dictate our standards as far as what we're going to do. I feel like all these other countries kind of lead the charge and then we're like, oh, let's do this. And it's like,
Yeah,
so been doing that for 10
we
years.
like certain trades, actually, it's mandatory to have a license to work on those things. I mean, you still get the handyman here and there that does it without a license. And they're trying to crack down on that more. But yeah, like plumbing and electrical, you need a license to work on those, unless it's in your own home.
So do you do more of the service side of plumbing or the rough-in side, a little bit of both? Like what's your day-to-day?
Yeah, my day-to-day can be different every day. I've done new installs like rough in, I do service, drain cleaning, renovations, and then I've also done like small commercial and industrial. At the nuclear plant is industrial, so I kind of encompass all of plumbing as much as I can, which isn't easy to do, especially as a small business. But if a job comes up, I'm going to try and get it.
Yeah, no, I bet. So what is your favorite? So if you had to choose out of all of them, which one is your favorite to do?
I like new installs. Renos are cool because sometimes you have to, like, someone wants a bathroom that's over here, and now they want it over here. You got to think. You have to like troubleshoot and think about, okay, how am I going to run this pipe to make the old vents and stuff still work? So that I really like. And I like drain cleaning because it grosses people out, and I find it funny.
That is funny. Yeah, man, plumbing is crazy. And I always try to give love to all the different trades. And I made this quote before. It's kind of like the military, the different branches may give each other shit, but, we realize that all of us are what make this work. And that's kind of how the trades work. I mean, it's cool to me, like HVAC is cool because we have to know like our part, we have to know some electrical, and we have to know some plumbing. I'm not a plumber by any means. I'm not an electrician by any means, but I can respect of what people do. You know what I mean? Like when I watch like some of you guys and I see the stuff and it's like, residential stuff, I know enough to carry a tune, but when I see some of like the big stuff and things like that, and I'm like, damn, like that's pretty wild. Like that's pretty cool. And some I'm like, that's I do that.
Yeah. Like I wish I could post more content of the nuclear plant, but it's kind of forbidden for security reasons, but
makes sense.
Understandable, right?
Yeah, right. Let me ask you this. What made you start sharing your stuff on Instagram? Because not everybody takes that plunge. So what made you take that plunge and to do it like consistently?
It was Mechanical Hub and the Plumber. I saw a couple of their posts and I was like, hey, I think I could do this. And like during my apprenticeship, I was trained by, I'd like to say like perfectionists. So they were very particular on how they liked things and liked them done. So I wanted to show the proper way that things should be done. Because, there's a lot of handymen out there doing hack work. I'm not saying all handymen are bad, but, there's a lot of hack jobs out there. And I want to show the proper way that things should be done. And that's kind of why I started it.
And that's cool, man. And I think that is part of the power of social media and being an influencer, a podcaster, a YouTuber, whatever you want to call people who do what we do. But I love Instagram's atmosphere. Like I got my bones on Facebook. I had a Facebook group that got to 100,000 people. Facebook told me, go fuck yourself. They shut my group down. I had to rebuild it. And then when I found Instagram, I was like, oh my God, like this is a whole new world. This is amazing. I love it. And I was able
a whole community.
Yeah, I got to meet all these people and actually become a part of the community. I love it because just seeing people do things the right way, we're setting the bar in our industries higher. More people share their work and it's like, oh, they're doing badass work. Like this is the norm. People are going to be like, they're not going to be proud of, oh man, well, I just fucked up Mrs. Jones' house. Like I can't do that no more, man. Like I don't want people to know I do that kind of work. Like we start to raise the bar and the more you do that, these other people start to fall through the cracks because they'll realize they can't hide anymore.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you get people like Flint Stone and Jeff Dem, like those installs, you see them when they do them, all this bent copper and looking gorgeous, or Aaron Bond, and you're like, oh, okay, I got to step up my game and be better because I want my stuff to look like that,
Yeah,
definitely.
Plus, if you really if you're a true craftsman, and I show appreciation and respect for other people's work,
Yeah,
Like,
for
if,
sure.
if you're willing to trash somebody else's stuff and be like, oh, it looks like shit, then you should be willing to give somebody credit who does it and it looks awesome. Like, if I go into a HVAC system for another company and I'm doing a sales call or something like that, and it looks good, I'm going to be like, well, damn, whoever put this in, they did an amazing job. Like, this looks really, really good. I'm going to give them their credit because you should.
Oh yeah, of course. And I mean, like I said, it makes you want to do better to be able to do those things. And the one thing that the community is really good at is that we lift each other up, even in the comments. Like, even if I don't like something, I won't leave a comment on that post. I'll just keep scrolling. But if I actually like something, I'll say, okay, that was awesome. That looks great. Where TikTok, it doesn't matter what you post. Could be the greatest thing ever. They're going to attack you. And that's the community stands in. And I've had people, other plumbers come in and comment on those bad comments to be like, yeah, it's good stuff.
And I feel like some people, they take their shitty day out on other people. And I'm the same way. I'll comment good stuff. I won't comment anything negative. It's just not worth putting that into the ether. If it's somebody that's young and they're asking, advice, I'll give them constructive criticism, but I'll make sure that I'll say hey, this is just my thoughts, man, blah, blah, blah. I'll make sure it comes off in a positive way. And real fast, one of the comments from Facebook, Mr. Donahue Air, thank you for being here. He said, if guys have the balls to post their work, more than likely they're doing honest work. And that's very true. Most people aren't going to post work if they're not proud of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? 90% of the bad comments, if I go to their profile to look at anything, it's usually a private account, and the guy's profile picture is him holding a bass. There's no proof that he does any work remotely close to what I do. So no skin off my back.
Yeah, I don't pay attention. That's one thing about doing this. I have one in here. He's my biggest hater, but I just want to put positivity out in the world, man. I will latch to the positive and I just scroll past the negative. You know what I mean?
That's what you have to do.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. And people who live their lives like that, man, it's just crazy. Who knows? He'll keep coming back in, but it's all good. But so how long have you been doing plumbing now? How long have you been in the trade?
I've been doing plumbing for 9 years now. I'll be able to get my master's license this year, I believe. And like I said, it was diving for 8 before that. So I've been in the trades industry for quite a few years now.
So it's my fault, maybe in the beginning of the show, just listening, being weird. Go more into diving. So when you were diving, you said you were underwater, welding and stuff like that.
Yes.
What exactly did you do diving? What was the scope of that?
It could be inspections for cities for their raw water intakes out in the lakes. It could be, welding ship repairs. Basically anything to do with any type of construction that needed to be done underwater. That's what I did. If there's a pipe burst or a valve broke inside, that's normally why I'd have to dive in a sewage tank for a city, is a valve broke that they were trying to actuate and it wouldn't actuate. Instead of draining the whole tank, I would just dive in the shit to go fix the valve so that they could get operating again. Stuff like that.
How'd you get into that?
I mean,
that seems isolated. You know what I mean? If you don't know somebody who does it, it's kind of like a random job. You're not looking on Deed hey, I'm going to go dive in, you know what I mean?
Yeah. When I was in high school, I had a shop class. It was welding. And the teacher went around the room and he's like, hey, what do you want to be? And I was like, oh, I want to be a welder. And then some guy in the back of the room said, yeah, I want to be an underwater welder. And I looked, I was like, what the fuck is that? I did a bunch of research and I actually changed my grade 11 and grade 12 courses so that I could get into dive school to do that. That's just was my passion for years. And I still love diving. I miss being a commercial diver, underwater welder, but I don't miss it. I did it for the better. I'm extremely happy with plumbing and happy where I am now. And I did it for my family, which matters more to me than anything. So,
yeah. Well, let me ask you this. It's funny you say that welding. So I have 4 children. My oldest son, he's going to play baseball in college, but he wants to be a welder. He wants welding. Would you advise somebody that's younger to get into welding?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially pipe welding or pressure pipe welding. In my eyes, that's the best type of welding, like the structural shop, those are all great, but pipe is the top dog. Welding is a great industry for sure. I mean, we all usually need welders at some point in time.
Yeah, so I want to tell him because I don't know much about welding. I don't really know anything about it, but I think it's cool, and I'm glad to see that he wants to go into some kind of trade. So we'll see how it works out. But I was kind of thrown back when I heard him say he wanted to do welding, but it was pretty wild.
You didn't try and convince him to go HVAC?
No, he's been wanting to come work for me for a while now, and I keep saying no, only because, for one, I know that he doesn't want to do this for the rest of his life, and I don't want him to come work for me just to work for me, just to say I work for
Yep.
And it's just going to be harder. Plus, I told him, I said, if you don't want to do this, I'd rather invest that time into another younger guy who wants to do this for a living and is going to be here,
Yep.
So I'd rather get him to do something else, friends. I would be an asshole to him. I mean, worst case scenario, if God forbid something happens like my dad did with me, my dad did HVAC. I was a knucklehead, so I went to work for him. Thank God that I've been able to have a good life with this industry has given to me, which is why I want to give back to it. But for him, obviously, if welding doesn't work out, then yeah, you come with me. I'll teach you a trade. You'll be set for life. But unless he came to me and said, Dad, I want to do what you do, I'm not going to push it,
Yeah, and like I worked for my dad for quite a few years, and everyone's like, "Oh, your dad is probably soft on you," but he's actually like twice as hard on me as he was any of his other employees because I was his son. He could get away with it.
Yeah. So are you married with kids? Just, you said
yeah.
2 kids.
Yeah. So I've been with my wife for over 13 years. We have 4 kids together.
Oh, nice. The 4. Well, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I got 2 boys. 2 girls.
I have 2 boys, 2 girls.
Nice.
I started young. I had my first child when I was 21. She was an accident, not a mistake. And then we continued on being together and had more children as we went along this journey.
I hear you. I've married the same woman twice. It's a long story, but yeah, 4 kids. So we have a 17-year-old boy, a 14-year-old boy, a 7-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old daughter. We have that gap. My wife has a brain condition, so we didn't know if we could have any more kids. And then the doctor was like, yeah, you should be fine. They just have to be like, C-section, cesarean, because the pressure. So we had our first daughter, and I was like, yes, daddy's little girl. I got my 2 boys, blah, blah, blah. And then my last daughter was the same way. She was an accident, not a mistake. And the doctor was like, hey, I said you guys were good. I didn't mean like keep going. He was like, you guys are done after this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if talking to my wife, I don't know if your body can take it. And I was like, so they just tied her tubes and all that kind of stuff while they were in there. So we're good. No more kids, no accidents. Can't do that anymore. But I'm blessed to have both. And I'm glad they were in waves because the boys can help. And I will say the girls are way harder than the boys.
My 2 oldest are girls, and then I had youngest boys. So I went opposite of you. And my oldest is 10, then it's 6, 3, and 2. So my boys are young. And it's funny you say that the girls are hard. I found that the boys are harder.
Maybe it's when they're younger. I feel like the boys, when you're potty training them, throw some Cheerios in the toilet, make a game, they shoot them down. Girls are a whole nother story, you know what I mean? And then I guess as a man, you get worried for every girl that maybe you mistreated in high school, and you're like, man, is karma going to come back and kick me in the nuts? And
100%. I thought I was going to have 4 girls just because of that.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. But what are you going to do, man? I feel like you raise your kids, and if you try to put the right morals and values inside of them, that you'll set them up for success. But they got to go fail them. Kind of like our parents did with us. You're going to fail. You're going to fuck up. You got to learn from it. Like I always say, life is not about not making mistakes. It's about you keep making mistakes, you learn from them, and keep making new mistakes,
That's right. Yep.
So that's my motivational quote of the night. We need to cut that out and make that a YouTube short or Instagram reel. Editor, if you're watching this, take care of that for me. That's awesome. So when you do heating, so I would imagine up there it's pretty cold. So you guys have a lot of like boilers and hydronic heat and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, boilers, hydronic heat, and forced air furnaces.
Nice. Jennifer Amanzo from TikTok and Misfits of HVAC. She asked a long time ago, I forgot to ask that, what is your favorite boiler brand?
Oh, I haven't dealt with a boiler yet, thankfully.
Oh, really?
No, that's too far out of me. Boilers are pretty big. Again, you have to have a certain license to deal with boilers.
Oh, because around here, so if you have one of the plumbing and heating companies, you see them do all the plumbing stuff, and then they'll do hydronic heating normally, but then they won't touch like forced air for the most part. Some of them, but they do a lot of hydronic stuff. So that's funny that you guys, you'll do like gas furnaces and stuff, but not that kind of stuff.
And that might just be me also. I've just not ventured into that side that much. So, like I said, I'm more drains, more plumbing. I just have my ticket to be able to do a little bit of heating.
That's sweet. Oh, Hughes Man said, where can we view Vader's content? So he's Vader the Plumber on Instagram. Are you on any other platforms?
Yeah, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Vader is actually my last name. It's people think I just did it because I really like Star Wars, which I do, but I was blessed enough to have it as my last name, so I was almost forced to be a Star Wars fan at birth.
That's funny. Yeah, that's what I said. Like, me and him have been talking through messages and different things. We've talked so much, and I've just called him Vader. And then finally tonight, I was like, bro, I don't even know what your first name is or what your real name is. I've always just called you Vader. And he was like, well, Vader's my last name. And then he told me his first name, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's funny, though, but that's the power of social media, that you feel like you know somebody by watching their content. And even though a lot of us are being ourselves, it's almost like a persona or a character that people see, and that's what they know you as, Vader. Like if somebody who watches your content saw you in public, they're not going to walk up and say, Justin. They're going to be like, Vader. You know what I mean? They're going to say,
yeah,
Vader the Plumber.
Even when I went to AHR, it was funny because like a lot of the times when I do my content, I wear a Vader helmet. So some people at HR didn't even know my face until they saw my sticker on my lanyard. And then they were like, oh my God, you're Vader. I was actually sitting at the same table as Commercial Kitchens at the AHR Tactical Awards. I mean, the HVAC Tactical. And he didn't know until like the end of the night that we were sitting right beside each other. And I've talked to him for a while, so it was pretty funny.
That's crazy. Now that I know you, if I see another event, then I'll be able to see you, because I love to meet so many people there and at least try to meet in person. So that way, if I do message, it's like, oh, that's Gil. I met Gil, That's why I love the Tactical Awards, but it's so many cool people, so many influencers and content creators there that it's hard to meet everybody,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Was that your first AHR?
That was my first AHR. That was my first Tactical. I actually showed up to Tactical late because my plane landed at 6 and the awards started at 6. So I didn't get there until like probably 8 o'clock. So I was late to the party, but it was still a great time. And I can't wait to go to the next one. And yeah, that was my first AHR. And that was a big show. Like, I've never been to a trade show that size. So that kind of blew me away. And then I talked to guys and they're like, oh yeah, this is big, but not that big. Like talking about shows in Vegas that are like 3 times that. Or some of my friends went to Ish, and that's like apparently like 10 times the show. So I'm interested in going to more.
I'd love to see those because AHR is pretty fucking big. So
yeah, right.
The biggest one that I've went to, I haven't been to a crazy amount, but I always make sure I go to AHR because as far as HVAC is concerned, I don't think there's one bigger than that. So obviously there's probably some bigger, but not in HVAC, because I've been to Service World, Epic, some of the other ones, and they don't hold a candle to AHR. Plus, as far as now the Tactical Awards, which is amazing, and seeing what Ben has done with them and how it's grown every year is absolutely fucking amazing. Like, that was a blast. Like, having a red carpet and
yeah, for sure.
You don't get to do that kind of stuff as a tradesman,
Yeah, and it's funny, when I messaged him to get a ticket, he messaged me and he goes, yeah, no plumbers allowed. And he left me on red for like 2 days before he messaged me back and was like, I'm just kidding. Here's the link.
That's That's cool you went. So that's awesome. You're going to go to Chicago, man, because I love to meet you in person and meet different people. And I can only imagine what the Tactical Awards is going to look like next year because Ben keeps knocking this shit out of the park.
Yeah, for sure. I told him he's got to add some plumbing categories or plumbing tactical. He should start broaden the spectrum.
And knowing Ben, he probably will. I mean, he probably will. Like, it'll be the Tactical Awards. And knowing Ben, I would not be surprised if he starts to do that. He's going to start to slowly open it up and all that kind of stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. What did you think was cool you got to see at AHR, from a plumber side, and it's more heating and air conditioning? What was cool for you to see?
I like the REMS booth because I've wanted to buy some of their stuff, but I haven't gotten to hold it in my hands. Uponor was nice to see because I use expansion PEX. Like, if I have the possibility to use it, I'm going to use it. Like 90% of the time, I go expansion. So that was nice to see Uponor. Vega, to finally meet Colton in person. Viking pipe fitter, that was cool. Yeah, going to the solder weld co booth, that was pretty awesome. I got to meet the HVAC doctor, and he showed, putting the hot block on his hand with the torch. That was pretty cool to see. Yeah, lots of things. I really liked it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's so many amazing people. And then also getting that personal relationship with some of the suppliers and stuff like that. How you said Colton and different people, Paul from RLS and Lance from Solderweld, and being able to meet up and build these relationships with people it's cool. And that's why when it comes to like sponsors and things like that, like I try to build relationships. Like if it's not people that I would say something about necessarily for free, then I don't want to do it paid. Because I feel like that's just not genuine. It's not right. I don't ever want to go down that road because especially if there's something that I offer that, I'm being paid to say it. But if somebody else spends their hard-earned money, I don't want them to be like, what the fuck, Gil? You know what I mean? Like, so it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, it was really cool to be able to meet the other content creators that I've been talking to for years, for a year or two, to finally meet them in person. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Like I said, it's awesome. And those awards, even for people who are influencers or social content makers, like it's so many of them there that it's overwhelming. It's hard to meet everybody, even though you have the time to mingle. So every year,
for sure.
I keep meeting more people and try to go all the way. The only thing that sucks, like, since that for HVAC, since that's like our biggest event, like now when I go, like my buddy HVAC Rookie, who's in the chat, he goes to the events and he helps me. Like, now my time is so like, I got to be here at this sponsor booth. I got to go podcast here. I got to go do the, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, structured, which is good. I love to do it and to give back to these places. But sometimes I wish, like, I think next year I'm going to leave like one day. I'm going to say, hey, this day I'm not doing anything. I want to walk around. Just
want to wander.
Yeah, exactly. And see the booths and, just bullshit with people and stuff like that. But it's cool. So I have to ask you this, man, because I always wonder from a plumber's point of view. Like, we have these things, like, I'm trying to think of how to ask it. Like, pretty much I want to know, like, do you guys hate CPVC as much as, like, I hate it? Like, because I feel
CPVC?
Like... Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Thankfully, in Ontario, we don't have that much of it. And it's the worst. It's the absolute worst.
Okay, good. At least I know that I'm a plumber.
I don't feel comfortable working with someone who installs it because it sucks. Unless it's already there, don't install it.
Yeah,
don't do it.
Yeah, because I feel like we have some of these apartment complexes that have like water source, like the Aquatherm units, where it's like an air conditioning has the hot water coil, and they'll CPVC it, and it has like 12 inches of copper, and then the CPVC connects. And when those guys replace them out and you're going to cut that, it's so brittle. I had a guy that kept going. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, you don't have much left and we can't get above this. I'm like, so let's be careful here. And I just think that it sucks. And I never knew much about PEX, but I have some plumber friends that they're like, dude, PEX is the shit. If it's done right, like, I'll PEX the house and it'll last longer than that CPVC bullshit. Like, I know copper is expensive, but is that still like the best way to do a house, or is it just doesn't make sense because of the cost now?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a renovation and it's already there, it's nice to put it back. But if I can transition to PEX, I will. Hands down, PEX it's cheaper, especially if you go Uponor, because people complain that PEX is smaller ID, especially when you put a fitting in, and then you're reducing it every fitting, right? Or it's getting restricted every fitting. But if you go with Uponor, where it's expanding it, the fittings are all the same size as the pipe, so there's no restriction on flow. So it's just as good as copper, if not better, because of how long it's going to last.
Yeah, I've never had to do much with PEX. So I working with a builder one time, we had to use PEX because it's what they had. We were adding in like a toe kick onto a boiler and something else. And that was the first time I really ever messed with it. And I was like, damn, this shit's actually pretty cool. But then I see some other people, other builders, and I see it just real sloppy. And I'm like, well, that looks like shit. So
Yeah.
then being an HVAC guy that I don't know plumbing like that, I start to think like, oh, well, I guess that's the cheap, like, hack way to do it. But then when I find out, like, I see how people do it properly, I'm like, oh, never mind. Like, this shit is pretty awesome. It's like anything. It has to be done properly and done right.
That's right. Yeah, there's a good way to do it and a bad way. If it's sloppy, it's pointless. If you can install it properly, then it'll look nice.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. So I know our installers love it. So we have a ProPress that we use for any boiler work, hot water heaters. Like that's the only plumbing that we'll really do. And they have to be one of our club members. And if somebody just calls in, unless it's like really slow, we're not just going to go out and do water heaters. We'll refer them to a plumber. But if they're a club member, then we'll go do it because water heaters, they're simple, they're easy. And we'll flush them for our service club members.
Nice.
We ProPress all that because I don't know. I feel like some HVAC guys, like, they can't soft solder. You know what I mean? Like, I have slow little. I'm like, dude, you're burning it off. You're not brazing it like refrigerator.
Brazing.
Yeah, just boop, boop, you're good. But we had no issues.
Barely touch it.
Yeah, our lead installer, like when he does the boilers with the ProPress, it makes it look fucking amazing. And now I finally have the stuff to do the refrigeration side. So I have the Zoom lock stuff, and then Paul is actually sending me the RLS stuff as well. So to be able to use these and test them out and all that kind of stuff, because I do think it's amazing technology, and it makes it easy.
Presses revolutionized the trade, and people are like, oh, it's taking the skill out of the trade. But I disagree. Again, it's like PEX. You can make ProPress look nice, and you can make ProPress look shitty. So it takes a professional to install it properly.
Yeah, and you still have to do it. But I mean, especially like, so if you're working at the nuclear plant and you bring a torch, like you got to have like a burn permit, right? Like a fire.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like now you can just.
Yeah, hot work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, ProPress, and it takes half the time. So guess what? On to the next job. Because people also complain that the ProPress fittings are a little bit more expensive than soldering. You have to take into account the time savings. Time is money. So yeah, I could solder it and it would take me, say 15 minutes, where ProPress, it'll take me 5. Well, that's time that I'm saving to get me to the next job to make me more money. So those fittings pay for themselves.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Our tool is paid for itself. The only thing is that I wish is we bought the big DeWalt, like DC 200. And
the big boy.
Using that on water heaters it's heavy. So
yeah, you need the compact.
Yeah. So that's one cool thing about Paul, that he's sending us a tool and everything. So we can use that, which is amazing because that thing is a beast. It'll press anything, don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
it's an arm workout. You're hurting at the end of the day. Yeah.
And for small water heaters, you don't need something that size, just a little compact. Even the rigid 241, that's a mint. Little compact ProPress does 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1 inch. I think it'll even do 1 1/4 inch for copper, and then it'll also do 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch gas.
Well, and that's one thing that I got into. And one thing about, like, I found out things on social media. I mean, obviously I found out about like Zoom lock and stuff like that a while ago when it first came out through YouTube and stuff. But the stuff you can do with even like gas pipe now, like that's the
Mega
mega.
press.
Yeah, that shit's amazing. Like that's so cool. Like being able to go into a job and you don't have to bust out like a threader anymore. Even or some of that technology with the threaders that you can bring out to do things. But
battery powered.
yeah, that's awesome stuff to be able to do that. And you see some of these things that they're doing that you can go in and be like, oh, this pipe looks like shit. They just Sawzall it, clean it up, and then bam, now we got a new pipe that looks amazing with the new system.
Yeah.
Because for us in HVAC, nothing sucks worse than you got this nice system that looks amazing, and then you got this old shitty looking gas line that comes down, that you're just having to make it work because that's what's there. Now you can redo it and make it exactly what you need it to be.
100%. And same thing, they say those fittings are expensive, but time savings, you're not pulling out a threader. It's totally worth it.
Oh, and plus, you're going above and beyond. So normally people who do that, they charge a little bit more for their jobs, but people are getting the value. They see the value. They see the finished product, the way the job looks. So you're getting your money back for it,
Yeah, that's right. It's not a room you want to hide like a normal mechanical room. It's something that you want to show people like, hey, look at this. Look at all the diamond plate.
And that's what I love what Jeff does, how he wraps it and puts the lights in, because it used to be the mechanical room was a dark, damp, like hide stuff in there. And now you can make it a point that when people come over their house and they don't know anything about the trades, they're like, hey man, look at this new furnace this guy put in, and they open
for
it up
sure.
and they're proud to show it off. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's cool as shit that he does that.
Yeah, that's the way to be. That's to strive to be that way.
It's wild. Plus, it just makes you see some of the things because, not even just in the trades, just in everyday life, we all get complacent at times,
Of course.
But when you see stuff like that and you're like, damn, like that's, I got to step my game up. Like, that's pretty badass. I hate it when people are like, I've been doing this for 30 years. Like, okay, maybe you've been doing it wrong for 30 years. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, time doesn't make you an expert at something. It's good that you've had experiences and been doing it for a while, but I just love to learn new things. So even me, I am a above average HVAC technician. Granted, now I'm a general manager of a company and I run the company. I'm not really a tech in the field. I do like training and teachings, which I love doing that. I love to help our people get better. But if I see something where people show something, I'm like, oh, like that's so much easier than the way that I did it. That's cool.
The moment you stop learning or you keep yourself from learning is the moment that you know nothing.
Yeah. That's why I always say it. Like I said earlier, I tell our young guys, they're all nervous to make a mistake. And I'm like, hey, you can't make a mistake that I haven't made. Okay. I've made a ton more mistakes than you. I want you to make mistakes, keep making new ones, keep learning. Like, if one of our guys calls me and they're like, Gil, hey man, like I fucked up and I don't know what I did, but I just shorted out this brand new compressor. I already know that they're killing themselves. They're beating themselves up. So me shitting on him is not going to help anything. It's like, all right, man, like whatever, shit happens. Did you learn your lesson? Yeah. Oh, trust me, I'll never fucking do this again. Yeah. All right, cool. We'll get another compressor.
And like you try and teach them, I mean, that's what the whole apprenticeship is, right? Is you trying to teach them so they can learn from the mistakes that you've made in the past, but they still have to make their own mistakes on their own to better themselves as tradesmen.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, like, I think some of the people that have done the best that I've ever worked with or have worked for me in some kind of management, like when I've been in management roles, is that they're just good young people. They don't know anything about whatever trade, whatever the HVAC trade is. They were raised properly. A big thing for me is, be on time. If you're going to say you're going to be somewhere, just be a man of your word, be there,
show up.
Exactly. Like an interview. If you're going to be there, especially be there at 4:00, kind of like military time, you should be there 15 minutes before. Like, don't show up late. That's just, you don't care enough to be here on time. Then I don't know if you're my kind of guy. But those young guys that come in and we teach them the trade, like they end up being rock stars. And then they realize like, damn, I can make money in this trade. Like this is legit,
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Damn, dude, we're getting close. I knew we'd get close to 9:30. It would go fast, man. I guess so. Real fast before we start to close this out, guys. So Vader is on all the platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. That's it,
Yep.
right?
Vader the Plumber.
And tell everybody, what is the podcast that you got?
So I'm part of we call it the Best Car Caller Boys. And it's kind of like we talk about nerdy shit and the trades. So, we talk about tools, talk about plumbing, talk about all trades. We have guests on there, and we talk about Star Wars, Marvel, pretty much anything nerdy and anything to do with the trade. It's me, the Plumlorian, and Plum Dangerous. So, yeah, check it out.
Sweet. When does that come out? Do you guys do it live, or you just put out the audio for it?
We just put out the audio, and it's kind of random. It's hard enough to get 3 guys, and sometimes we have a guest. So 4 people all together at once is hard. We just had Becky and Maddie from Rigid on talking about Rigid's 100-year anniversary. That was a couple weeks ago.
That's bad. I see you drinking out of the Rigid cup. You drinking the Rigid beer?
No, unfortunately, I can't get it in Canada because they can't ship it across the border.
Oh, damn. That sucks. Well, at least they sent you some
cups. I did get a cup, so cheers to that.
Nice. I heard some people say their beer's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good. And it apparently sold out for a little bit because it was so popular.
Tradesman beer. I'm going to make an HVAC Uncensored beer. It's funny. I'm not a big drinker though, so if I made a beer, it would probably suck. So I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, I mean, I drink some beers and stuff like that, but I've just never. I don't know. Just drinking's never really been my thing.
Yeah, I'm Canadian. It's almost in my blood.
That's funny. What area are you in?
I'm in Ontario, so I'm like an hour outside of Toronto.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I've always heard Toronto's a cool place. I never visited anything in Canada, but I would like to because I had some friends that have went up there and said that some of the places are beautiful.
Yeah, Toronto's great. It's just really busy. I mean, it's a big city, so what big city's not busy?
Yeah, very true. Very true. All right, man. Well, shit, I'm going to thank some people in the chat, man. I won't keep you too long. I appreciate you coming on, man. I thank you so much. I'm glad to talk to you and start to have that relationship. Maybe we can finally start to do the stuff on Instagram once I learn what the fuck I'm doing about.
Yeah.
I feel like old man when it comes to Instagram about trying to make
I appreciate you having me on, too.
Yeah, of course, man. If you ever want to come back on, hit me up, dude. You're welcome to come on if something happens or whatever. Man. I'd love to have you on anytime. So, guys, go check out all of his stuff. Obviously, Instagram, he's way more people than I have. So, everybody should know him. But another content creator coming on the show doing things right. So,
appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm going to close the show out, man. You can hang tight or whatever you got to do, man.
Thanks.
Thanks, buddy. Alrighty. Man, Vader's a cool dude, man. And it's funny, I didn't know his name until tonight. Thank you real fast. Let me say hello to some people that came in here. So I know Miss Jennifer Manzo was on here. Mr. Hughesman was in here. Hello. Donahue Air was in here. Mr. C. Young. Jarrett Newfield. What's up? I think that's what it says. Oh, Newenfield. Mr. Jimmy, HVAC teacher. Adrian, reliable. What's up? Make sure I say hi to everybody. I know Mr. John's in here. Let's see. Isaiah was in here. HVAC OTJ. What's up, my man? Great podcast on the Misfits. That was a great show, bro. Mr. HVAC blogger. What's up, brother? I knew I was missing somebody. I'm trying to make sure I say hello to everybody. Obviously, Rookie is my man. He's always in here. Trying to make sure I did not miss anybody. So if I missed you, I'm sorry. I was trying to say what's up to everybody. Thank you. The show started late tonight, so it messed a few little things up. You know, him being in Canada, he was working, so I wanted to give him a little bit of extra time. It's been a good night, man. And John, you can come in these. You know what? I'll tell Rookie he won't even kick you out, man. If you want to come in, you can come in here, dude. I won't even care if you come in. It is what it is. So I'll let you come in here, but if I come in one of yours, you can't kick me out. I'll make that deal with you, John. Can we make that deal here? I probably won't come into one of yours, but we'll say that. Plus, I'm just sick of dealing with that, man. Leave it in the past, John. So I'll make this here. I'll say this here now that the guest isn't here and I can concentrate. So yes, me and John Israel have a past. We did a podcast together. John was actually a good friend of mine. I liked talking with John. I liked doing the podcast with him. It was actually good. And shit went sour. Things got out of hand. A whole bunch of said people got carried away. And I'll say this to you, John. I am happy that you got your surgery, man, because I know you have a wife and you have kids. So congratulations. I'm happy that you got your surgery. If this is what you want to hear and you say that, I'm sorry for the things that I did, that's fine. I'll say that. But this is just getting old, man. I'm not saying we got to be best friends, but I don't want to do this. This just gets old, man. If you want to keep doing it, whatever, I'll let you in here. I'm just going to stop doing it. Let it go, man. If you're apparently doing good for yourself, you're doing your business, you got your health right, then just do it, my man. You know what I mean? I don't expect us to ever be best friends, but I'm sick of doing this. We both got too many things going on to sit here and do these comments and just keep going at everybody's throat. And I'm not saying that I haven't been guilty of things too, but I'm just sick of doing this, man. I don't have the time or energy to keep doing it. So that being said, anyway, thank you guys for coming to the show tonight. There's been a bunch of amazing shows that have been coming out. I got a lot of really cool guests coming up. The show's getting booked out pretty far. John, a bunch of things started it, man, but let's finish it. Let's just be done with it. What for you needs to finish this? Anyway, great show tonight, man. I appreciate Vader. Good shows coming up. Guys, make sure you follow me on all the social media sites. TikTok's building up, Instagram, Facebook. There's the Facebook group. I'll be honest, I don't go into the Facebook group that much. My moderators take care of it. I'm just kind of disappointed at the Facebook platform. It's really no positivity and stuff like that. I'm loving Instagram and loving TikTok. I love the communities, the positivity, been able to meet some awesome people. So, thank you to all of my moderators in here. I appreciate you guys as always. You know that. So that would be Mr. Hughesman, Rookie, Mr. Reliable. Have a good night, my friends. I appreciate you guys, man. Remember, be safe out there. We all have somebody to make it home to, and people are crazy. I keep hearing some of these car accidents and some of this dumb stuff, and it's scary. You know what I mean? And having a kid who drives, be careful out there. Have your head on a swivel. You might be the best driver in the world, but you don't know what the assholes next to you or whatever have. So just be careful. I want to make sure that each and every one of you make it home to your families. Remember, do the little things, man. Set yourself apart from the next guy, the next girl. Learn something. Keep bettering yourself in your trade. Like I always say, podcasts, books, online courses, whatever it may be. And then give back. Help somebody else. If you know more than somebody else, then help them. Teach them. Give a shit about somebody. Ask somebody how's their day. Okay? Like I always say, just give a shit. Give back to the trade. Help each other. And put positivity out in the world, man. It's not to sound all hippie, but I just going through so much bullshit in my life. Like you people know, being a drug addict at some point and having all these negative, depressing things that went through my life. It's just, I don't want to dwell on negative things. I feel like if you dwell on the positive stuff and you just let the negative shit fall to the wayside, it just starts to make you have a better quality of life. It really does. So I wish all that for you if, God forbid, you're in a depressing or bad spot. And that's coming from somebody. I do that. Doesn't mean that I don't have, depression, anxiety, things. We all have shit going on, but I just think that that's a better way to live. With that being said, I love you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for support that you always continue to give me. And until next week, man, I'll see you mofos later.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.